All right, so we're ready to make our little pitcher that's going to be pouring our brandy sauce. So we're using rice cereal treats, and we're going to form these together to make our cute little pitcher. We don't want to use solid modeling chocolate or fondant or gum paste because we don't want to have that much weight on the top of it. So since these are nice and light, we can create the pitcher out of these, cover them with the modeling chocolate, and we don't have to worry about too much weight on it. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to form just kind of the base shape of my pitcher. And you can decide what shape your pitcher is. It's up to you. If you have a little pitcher at home that you want to mimic, you can do that. I am just making this up out of my head because I don't have a little pitcher that I like that I want to mimic, but I think this will look cute. So just giving it kind of the shape I want. And what's great about the Rice Krispie treats is you can really work with it. You can just press it against your board to get it to the right shape. If you want to roll it, I want to give it a little bit of an edge on my bottom, so I can roll it that way and then this way. And then I want it to have a little divot on that part. So I'm just going to use my hand to shape it that way. And as I'm doing it, I'm compressing them so much that they're getting kind of smooth. So I'm getting kind of the basic shape that I want for my pitcher, so that I have the more I can do it in the Rice Krispie treats, the less modeling chocolate or fondant or gum paste I'll have to put around it, which is going to be mean less weight. And the wire's pretty solid, but we don't want to tempt fate. Always better to be extra secure that you are not going to have anything fall than be wondering. Okay, so I think that's kind of a nice shape for my pitcher. So I'm going to add a little bit actually in the front. I want it to have a little bit more bulbous shape around the front. There we go. Okay, so that'll do. So let me go wash the Rice Krispie stickiness off my hands, and then we'll bring in our modeling chocolate and start covering our little pitcher. All right, so I am using my green modeling chocolate to make my pitcher. I have my base of Rice Krispie treat right here. I'm going to roll this out and cover my little Rice Krispie treat and then shape it the way I want to shape it. So again, because it's modeling chocolate, we can take it and we can heel it on itself, which you can't do with fondant or gum paste, but you can do with modeling chocolate. So I'm bringing this around and I'll get rid of that seam. I want to make sure my bottom is nice, because if this were standing, you wouldn't see the bottom. But because it's going to be over the cake, you're going to definitely be able to see the bottom. So I'm going to roll this around and get it nice and smooth. Sometimes when you work with modeling chocolate, it gets soft because your hands are hot. Some people have much hotter hands than others. I don't have too hot, I'm pretty good, but I can see if it starts to get shiny like that, that means it's the oil is starting to come out of it, and you want to stop for a minute. So I'm going to let that rest for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and cut the top here because I have a little bit extra. I'm going to cut this better to the right shape once I get it formed correctly. But for now, I'm going to let that sit. And what I'm even going to do is I'm actually going to put it in my freezer because I want this to get more solid. Right now it's a little too mushy and it's holding every single fingerprint, and we don't want it to do that. We want it to be a little more solid. So I've healed my back seam. You can see that's pretty much gone. I've healed my bottom seam. So now it's just a matter of shaping, but I don't want to shape it while it's too soft. So let me pop this in the freezer, give it some time to harden up, and then we'll come back and finish it up. All right, so now that we've got our pitcher in the freezer so it can get its shape again, we're going to make the handle for our little pitcher. So I'm going to roll it out, and I don't want it sticky, so I'm going to give it a little bit of cornstarch. And to make a perfect snake roll, you can use your Fondant Smoothers, And it gives you a nice, perfect snake. All right, so we're gonna get that going to the right width, like this. And then we're gonna cut one end at a little bit of an angle that's gonna attach to the front. This is really soft again, so you wanna make sure when you're using it, you don't put fingerprints or change the shape too much. So I've got that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and give myself my shape that I want. Let's smooth it out. It's really soft, so I'm gonna be very gentle. I'm actually just not even really touching it, just kind of pushing it around, because the more I touch it, the more it goes out of shape. So I'm just gonna give it my little bit of a shape that I want, kind of push it around with my tools, like this. All right, so we're gonna let that sit for a minute because the modeling chocolate will harden all by itself, and it hardens much quicker. If you were to do this in gum paste, you would have to let it sit for a few days, but because this is modeling chocolate, it's gonna harden pretty quickly. All right, so let's get our pitcher out of the freezer and see if it's ready to work with.